Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. A couple of weeks ago I picked up this Seagull outboard motor off of Marketplace for something like 50 or 100 bucks. The owner told me that it hadn't been run for over 15 years and had been in the family for some 20-25 years. Well, today let's see if we can fire this Seagull outboard up. So just looking at what we picked up here just a little bit closer, you can see that it came with a pull strap there. You can see that the fuel tank is actually only held on with a bit of wire. I suppose if we can get it actually running, we can make some stainless steel straps. It looks like there perhaps should have been some sort of a air cleaner here that's missing. But nonetheless, we've got it. Let's see if she'll run. Well folks, I reckon the old recycling bin, which as you can see, apart from that snail in there, is pretty clean because it's only ever actually had paper and cardboard in there. So I'm kind of making this up as I'm going. But what I'm thinking is, let's get this full of water and then we'll get the Seagull hopefully mounted up on the side of the wheelie bin and then let's see if she'll start. Alright, so as you can see, we've got the hose in there, slowly filling that up. So whilst that's filling up, let's have a look at the actual outboard and let's see if we can get it mounted up somehow onto the side of the wheelie bin. This adjustment looks like she's a bit tight, so we'll just spray some WD-40 on those threads there. Hopefully that will ease that up. Oh yeah, straight away. Amazing. After sitting for all this time, you can feel it actually feels like it's got a little bit of compression in there. You can even hear that popping. I literally have got no idea what this thing is going to do, but clearly this cord just wraps around like that. I haven't put fuel in this yet, but I just want to pull this to see what the engine sounds like. Oop. Well, there you go. So obviously that. I wonder what will lock that actually down. So just playing with that before, that throttle cable there doesn't really look like it's doing much. So let's just see if we can open up the top with these multi grips here. Not the best multi grips that I've grabbed, but such is life. Never opened one of these carburetors up before, so don't really know what I'm looking at. But let's see, does that just lift out? Yeah. Just spray some WD-40 into the top, because I reckon that's meant to slide up and down there. Might even spray some straight into the little carburetor there. So just looking at this closer, this slide, we should go up and down to allow the fuel to change. Oh, there we go. She looks like she's completely gummed up though. So let's get this carburetor off and get this carburetor pulled apart so that we can actually have our best chance of trying to be able to start this. So get the fuel line off to start with. go. Just struggling getting these bolts undone to get the throttle mechanism off. So got a bit of this rust buster reductor. Let's spray a bit of that in there. And up in under here. Let that soak for a little bit. Well, given I was struggling with those two screws, I thought this was the best way to actually get the carburetor off without actually damaging those screws on those housing. We'll let the reductor, the penetrating spray, work a bit more on those screws. Hopefully we'll be able to get it all disassembled a bit later. But for now, let's get this carburetor off. There we go. Alright, so we've got that carburetor off. So let's just use some brake clean, some evaporative parts clean, just to get the outside just all cleaned up. So you can see the little tickler which primes the carburetor float bowl. That seems to be working fine. Choke mechanism seems to be fine. So I've got to work out why this slide is not actually coming out. Just give it a bit of a pull. Maybe it's just stuck a little bit. Alright, so let's try and pull this carburetor apart a little bit more. See if we get the intake to the fuel line off. See, it's got a little bit of a screen in there. Let's see if we can get that screen out. There we go, got that screen out. That's probably fairly clogged up as well, so just run some cleaner through that. So we should go get a couple more new fibro washers for the fuel intake there. Let's see if we can get the float bowl undone from underneath. Okay, get that off there. See, the float looks pretty good. Doesn't seem to be any cracks in that. Well, for now, it seems like, if I can get you in there looking, we actually freed up that throttle slide on that carburetor enough that it goes up and down. Now, I would have liked to have been able to get that all the way out. I'm no expert in Villiers or Seagull carburetors, but I've got that freed up. So what I'm going to try to do now is just get this reassembled. I've got some carburetor cleaner. So I'm just going to spray that in what I believe is probably the in jets and in everywhere we can. There's actually a needle down the middle of that intake slide, but for now I'm just going to get this partially reassembled. Let's see if we can actually get a bit of a splutter out of the old Seagull. So pop the float bowl back in. Got that little screw that we took out here before. Let's get that screw back in. Alright, so we've got that carburetor thrown back together now. Just put him back on the engine. Okay, and we'll tighten that up there. When I was just putting that carburetor back together, I didn't fully tighten that fuel intake bolt there just because I wanted to get the angle correct. In actual fact, what I might do is actually just leave that hose off until we put fuel into the tank to start with. Get the throttle reassembled. So alright, so I've just mixed up some fuel, and importantly with these old Seagulls, it's actually a two-stroke mix 10-to-1. So I've only got about 500, 600 mils, half a litre of petrol, but I've put 50, 60 mils of oil, two-stroke oil into that petrol. That's extremely high mix, but that's what these old two-stroke outboards ran with, so that's what we're going to run with. So I just put a bit of fuel in that tank. And let's see. Oh yeah, obviously that fuel tap is on when it's out. So let's put that fuel line back on now that we know that. Pop that out, and let's give that a bit of a tickle. Let's put the choke in the on position, and let's say we'll give it full throttle there. Let's wind the cord on and see what happens. Alright, so I suppose we should check to see what we've got in the way of spark. Alright, let's see if we can just hold that, put that close by, and see if he's going to generate spark. Alright, so it looks like it's not generating spark is the problem. Alright, so got a new spark plug. Let's pop that on and see how we go with it. So replacing the old Champion Com 8, we've got a Champion B16. Hopefully that will do the trick perfectly. Thread's obviously the same. So let's pop him in there. We'll just check to start with, see if we've even got spark. Oh yeah, she's got spark. I'll just bring you around so you can actually hopefully see that on camera. Alright, let's see if we can see that on camera there. Alright, so having a few pulls on the Seagull, it was clear that the spark just appeared to be a little bit intermittent. So I've just popped the plug out because what it felt like to me was the boot was just loose on the end. So I'll just show you a comparison of the old spark plug tip to the new spark plug. And what you can see is the end where it screws on. It's just a fraction longer with the new one. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to get my Dremel out. I'm going to chop it down, make it shorter so it's exactly the same as the old spark plug. Alright, so now that we've done that modification, let's check the spark now. Yeah, can see the spark now. So let's get the new modified spark plug in and let's give it a pull, see if she'll start. Whoa, well, she wanted to go.